Hey everyone, this is Jonathan Goss. I'm the author of the Heavenly Realms series of novels, and you might have seen this book on Nate's channel a couple times. We've talked about it a lot. This is the first one. It's Empyrean Falling, and these books are, in short, fantasy, Christian, military epic fiction. So, kind of like if you took Paradise Lost and mixed it with Braveheart and a little bit of Lord of the Rings and mix it all together in a blender, that's kind of what you get. It tells a very ancient story that's very familiar to all of us, but in kind of a fresh, more human spin that I think is a little bit more accessible. I started the books when I was 17 in high school, and I'm 37 now, so it's been a 20-year project. I finally got the first one released on Amazon a couple years ago, or maybe a year ago, and then subsequently went through and started, finishing up the rest of them. I wrote the entire 7 novel series between 1999 and 2010. So the books have been all finished and collecting dust for the better part of 10 years now. I could never find a publisher because secular artists or secular agents didn't want to touch anything that was Christian, and Christian agents and publishing companies didn't want to have anything to do with the book because it's about warfare. It's violent, and it's a little theologically challenging. It asks questions that all of us ask about faith, about choice, about fate, and about God's will and God's presence. That every one of us, I believe, really do ask ourselves, but we never really talk about it. I have found that the majority of people who are into these books tend to be what you could classify as fighting age males. I have found some women who enjoy them, but it is primarily a masculine book. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about the Heavenly Realms series is that it's pretty heavy in logos simply because it is a voice and a channel for the masculine Christian warrior. There's not a lot out there that talks about what it is to be a man nowadays in society. And there's not a lot that talks about how you can be godly but also be a warrior. So much of it is just you're hammered constantly on be compassionate, be forgiving, be loving, but no one teaches you when to draw your sword. And that's one thing that I think these books really do kind of focus on because they are about warfare. They're about the wars between the angels, the fall of Lucifer, the rebellion of the one-third. Michael, the archangel, tends to be the main protagonist. Gabriel is another archangel who is one of the good guys in the books. And then there are a bunch of other characters that I made up, primarily in the next 2 books that came out. This is the first sequel, Grey Aegis, and then this is the third sequel, or the third book that came out, Sturm und Drang. And these touch on other characters, but the first one, Empyrean Falling, this is primarily about what amounts to 3 brothers, Michael, Gabriel, and Lucifer, and how Lucifer's rebellion shatters their relationship and they have to go to war over it. I drew a lot of inspiration from Stephen Pressfield's Gates of Fire and Tides of War and the movie The 13th Warrior, along with classical mythology and lots of as many biblical references as I could find. Charlie asked a really good question one time, which is how do you keep from committing blasphemy? And my honest answer is the best way I could describe it is the Bible is woefully silent about a lot of stuff regarding the angels. There's not a lot of information given, and I think that's probably because it doesn't really matter as far as like the message of the Bible. I don't think God is intentionally silent on anything important. So there are a lot of gaps, information gaps, when it comes to information about the angels. So I had to take a lot of creative liberties in order to build a functioning universe and a framework, that would make sense. So, and I just had to make sure that I didn't violate anything biblical. It's like your creativity can exist in the gaps, in the silent gaps where God does not speak in the Bible. But your creativity just has to make sure that it doesn't violate anything where logos does happen, where God does speak. I think I accomplished that. At least I hope I did. It's a lot of realigning your conscience with Parakletos, the Holy Spirit, along the way. Lots of prayer along the way. But it was a lot of fun too. In total, it's a 7-novel series. The first 3 have been published on Amazon because they have this free self-publishing Kindle program that you can do. I'm working on the next couple as far as editing them, revising them, polishing them. They do need a little bit of a spit polish, but we are going to probably produce all the future Heavenly Realms novels through Taurus Necris Publishing with Nate and Charlie, and I'm really looking forward to that. We have a really cool special edition that we're working on for this one that's going to involve some material that I had to cut. I had to cut a lot out of this book. The very first draft of this book was 1,147 pages. This version is 400 pages, if that tells you anything about the writing and editing and revising process. So, I had to kill a lot of babies, as they say, because you do, man. It feels like you're killing your kids when you cut out characters and plots. But sometimes it's necessary to get published. Thankfully, though, Nate has been such a big fan of the book that he has really encouraged me to make something, larger. And Charlie, too. Charlie, actually, more than Nate when it comes to that. So I think we're getting together with some artists, and we're going to maybe do like a special edition of Empyrean Falling, the first book in the series, where it's going to have maybe some art in there, along with some expanded chapters, some extra chapters, some stuff that I had to cut. And then the next book in the series is going to be a series of angel journals that I wrote as a research tool that take place during the War for the Throne, the First War, which is covered in this book, from 3 different characters who all participated in that war, 2 faithful angels and 1 fallen angel. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I'm in the middle of touching that one up and revising it. And I think we're going to do some artwork for that too, which I'm really looking forward to. So we got some cool things in the works, man. I'm really blessed and very humbled and grateful to be working with Nate and Charlie and Taurus Necris Publishing, because it allows me to get out from under Amazon. Amazon was the only avenue I had. Nobody else wanted to publish my stuff. And I gave up on it for 10 years. Until I saw my older brother Nick publish his Travelers League series. And once I saw him do that, I realized that you could actually get published without a main publisher. Now, the catch-22 to that is I spend twice as much money on advertising campaigns as I make in royalties. So the book's not exactly a bestseller, because it's very niche, but it's really cool. It's like there'll be 300 people in this world who will love this book, and I'm all for those 300 people. Hopefully it'll be more than that. But Taurus Necris and I are teaming up, and we're going to be producing some extra stuff and some special edition stuff for Empyrean Falling, and hopefully all of the rest of the Angel books. I'm really looking forward to working with Nate. He's a great person to work with. Charlie is excellent. I'm sick of paying Amazon to not sell my book. It's ridiculous, but you kind of take it on the chin because you figure that's how it's got to work. So I love these books. They're kind of my life passion, at least until I have children. And I think they really can help people. They helped me. I wrote them all through my late teens and 20s. I think they speak to men, and I think they're violent, they're visceral, they're almost like Crusader mythology. If you could imagine Crusaders in the 10th century, warriors, Templars, Hospitallers, needing some sort of mythology of their own religion, some sort of angelic cosmology to help motivate them to be strong warriors and to keep fighting, you know? That's kind of what the Heavenly Realms series works itself out to be, because it's all about cherubim and seraphim and guardian angels and the flood and the Grigori and the Nephilim and the fallen and Satan and good guys, servants of God, fighting against selfish evil. And lots of battles, lots of monsters, Leviathan, just everything you'd want out of that. It's as my 22-year-old niece put it, it's a boy book, and it is 100% boy. It's all about, if you're a dude, you're gonna love it. So I'm really excited to be working with Nate and Charlie. I'm really excited to do a special edition of Empyrean Falling. We might even, who knows, we might even do special editions of these. They're out on Amazon now, but I think what's coming down the pike with Taurus Necros is going to be really cool. And I'm looking forward to publishing the rest of the 7-novel series through him, which is, again, they've all been finished for 10 years, along with maybe some other stuff that would be a lot of fun. So stay tuned, and we've done some live streams. We'll probably do some more. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it, and if you have any questions, man, feel free to ask, because I'm an open book. So, all right, see you guys.